Hello, I'm Justin. This is Kellan. Welcome to The Fizz. I think we get straight into it today with the drip. And I don't know what caught your attention this week, but OpenAI caught my attention on two, what's going on with OpenAI stories. The first was, this one I think is a little more under the radar. Walmart broke off a relationship with OpenAI, which I thought was really interesting. OpenAI came out with this feature called Instant Checkout. So if you're in ChatGPT and you're like, hey, help me find some shoes or help me find some shirts, it'll search the web and then it'll propose a product to you and you could buy it right there in ChatGPT. And so
I've seen that.
Yeah. So Walmart had an agreement with OpenAI that they could do that for Walmart's products. And Walmart ended up pulling the plug on the deal because Instant Checkout was not very good at recommending the right product. And if you read some of the articles, some of the experts that were quoted in it were just commenting on how important the actual product database is at serving the right option to the consumer. Right. And so Walmart, they've been obviously super data-driven e-commerce company forever at this point. And so they're like, this thing is not giving our customers the experience they expect from our brand. So we're going to do it ourselves, which either it's sort of I was thinking about this today. I'm curious what your take might be. It's okay, is that a failing of OpenAI, or was Walmart sort of unwilling to let OpenAI have access to that type of information? Because my understanding is the way Instant Checkout works, it's basically a web scraper, which is not, again, to the point of the experts in the article, is not as robust as having your full product database and the basket analysis and the recommendations and all of these things that make online shopping work really, really well. It's kind of a big deal. It's a big loss for OpenAI in terms of total dollars. Whether it impacts their long-term strategy or not significantly, time will tell. But I thought it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is kind of wow, there's a lot of factors here because you have Walmart, who, this is not even political or anything. It's just Walmart. It's just difficult to be a Walmart vendor, right? Because there's a lot of rules and I wouldn't put it past them to kind of limit the reach inside their system to get the right information to feed to those different to instant checkout. So that could be part of it. Another part. Here's the thing though, is the models are good enough. ChatGPT's all of them, all the frontier models are good enough that I would have a hard time believing it's a failing of the model and more of a failing of the construction, the inputs or the outputs are only as good as the inputs, in a sense. It's a common problem, obviously, with data too, right? Any type of data analytics, I can serve you a beautiful dashboard, but if it's got bad data, who cares?
Yeah, I know. I think I would agree with you. I think the poor consumer experience is not a result because of ChatGPT not being a good AI. It's the way the architecture was set up for how the AI got its information.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't using the best in class search approach, just to simplify the idea. It was scraping the web, trying to find t-shirts from Walmart or cleaner from Walmart. And Walmart wasn't happy with how it was doing it. And I would agree with you. My suspicion would be, well, Walmart also wasn't willing to let OpenAI just sort of have everything. And so Walmart's owning their own version of this same shopping experience from now on. So,
yeah, there's also potential too that Walmart sees this as kind of an opportunity to build expertise internally.
Yeah.
As this is the future. So maybe they're thinking, well, we don't really need OpenAI here. We need maybe their models, but not them actually. We need the deep kind of business expertise to be blended with the AI expertise, and having them be bespoke like this kind of on an ongoing basis, maybe not be the right partnership. So that, it just might be they're kind of not, they're kind of more in a siloed kind of relationship versus an integrated team, there probably should be. And that could be data access, could be a lot of different things, sitting in different conference rooms
Right.
talking about different things. Um, like the technology is just one component. So like understanding like what products to surface, like the right metadata, that requires like a lot of business input.
Yeah.
So
And I think that just like it puts a bit of a bold on how important it is. Any AI implementation you're trying within the four walls of a business is really dialed into that business and to that process and that
yeah,
methodology or whatever it is.
critical.
And I think, yeah, I don't know, I could probably put myself in the shoes of a leadership team at Walmart saying like, no, this is our secret sauce, providing a great shopping experience online.
Yeah,
Like we're going to own this, you know?
yeah, totally.
So,
Yeah.
but then
But
the other one,
it is big news though.
yeah, I mean, it's certainly a catchy headline, right? You hear
Yeah.
Walmart ends relationship with, and I'm sure Walmart and OpenAI, they still have a relationship, but it was sort of this partnership on this sort of feature. And the other thing was just like the abrupt ending of Sora.
Yeah. I saw that. That just happened this morning, right?
Yeah, like the new and then like obviously like Disney is obviously then pulling out of like $1 billion deal for using Sora for whatever cases, and it's just like, and there wasn't much said about it either, right? It
Yeah, I
wasn't.
read about it. I didn't really
There was
capture.
no real explanation other than like thanks for the team's efforts, So, um, part of me wonders too, like there's certain applications of AI, mainly in the creative space, that I think are ruffling just people's feathers in general, writing, entertainment, things like that. I wonder if this was just maybe a reaction to a signal of like, maybe we don't want this yet.
Hmm,
Like all this. Yeah, I don't know if you remember there was like the big backlash about the Coca-Cola Christmas commercials that were all AI generated.
right. Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see how that, if they're just going to go dark and keep working on this capability, or if they're responding to like a more direct market signal. I don't know. I'm only guessing because the announcements didn't say.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's like an oversteering that can happen, like
Hmm.
when the size of something grows,
Sure.
where it's like all of that is bad.
Big week for OpenAI. No more Walmart. No more Disney.
Yeah.
Any, anything catch your attention this week?
Oh, the big thing, and it's more like a feature. It's just a continued race for autonomous kind of agents on computers. The open
Hmm.
Claude kind of thing. Where now Anthropic has released channels. They previously had released remote control,
And then something called Dispatch.
and dispatch is remote control, but for a co-work. So you can give it a task remotely.
Whereas remote control is for Claude Code.
Yeah, you're in your other device under the same
Hmm.
account. So you connect your terminal or whatever you're
Hmm.
in on the computer, and then it can, remotely control like you're on the prompt from your phone or wherever you want. It disconnects and stuff a lot for me, and it's still
Boo.
kind of a little buggy. Well, it says it's still connected, which is
But
almost
it's
the worst
not.
part.
It says everything's fine, but it's not fine.
Yeah, like
That doesn't sound
if
like
you're
AI at
saying you're
all.
connected, that means there's no way I can fix you. You think you're doing good. And then
It's like,
channels
remember,
is yeah, go ahead.
this still happens with certain AIs where like, hey, I wanted you to generate an image, but you didn't. And the AI was like, yes, I did. It's above right here. Let me generate it again. And then it just like doesn't do anything. And you're like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know how to help you here.
Yeah, I think maybe we just
You
take a
think
break.
you're okay. I don't know.
Yeah, there's nothing I can do to help. And then
So
so
what's up with
channels is
channels?
yeah, so channels is where you can connect in an actual messaging channel. So like Slack, Telegram, kind of like you're exactly like where you have in OpenClaw,
Mm-hmm.
where you can connect in like Telegram, for instance, you create a bot. That bot becomes like your way of tunneling into the OpenClaw instance, wherever that it may be,
Mm-hmm.
um, and giving it commands and just working with it remotely from the messaging interface,
Sure.
wherever that might be, iMessage, Telegram, Slack, wherever. So
Mm-hmm.
Claude Code now has this. So yeah, I mean, it's not as there's still some parity there between OpenClaw just having kind of full scope within a computer's environment, like
Right.
whereas Anthropic, it has a remote kind of shell environment still
Hmm.
is pretty locked down for good reasons. But with things like Nemo Claw, where it's kind of wrapping OpenClaw in kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
There's going to be a consolidation here at some point, like
Yeah.
where I don't know how they continue to differentiate. They're just
Hmm.
basically solving the same problem,
Right.
which is I want, kind of twofold. I want an agent to be able to do the same things that I could do if I'm sitting at my desk
Hmm.
from anywhere, and I want the agent to not kind of require me all the time and be able to
Hmm.
work somewhat autonomously while still securely. So those are going to get fixed. They're just kind of being like tweaked, and even Anthropic just released, I think like yesterday, the ability to basically turn on the skip dangerous permissions, flag for
Hmm.
Claude Code. Now they just have an auto mode.
Here, or I mean, Peter Steinberger, he, again, exceptional developer, like accomplished, built this thing very quickly. I don't think you and I could have built OpenClaw. We just wouldn't have we can use it very effectively, but to like design that system, I think is a skill. But yeah, I think that's where everybody's realizing this stuff really starts to take off is when you have that type of autonomous agent that can actually get stuff done for you in a high level of quality and reliably, and like you said, and while not also like spilling your credit card details all over the internet while it's doing it.
Yeah, I think the other thing that is going to be interesting, which may be the big conversation in the next like 3 to 6 months,
Hmm.
is we don't know how much Anthropic and OpenAI are supplementing these subscription plans,
Right.
but it's fair to say that daily users
Hmm.
are using way more than $100 or $200
Hmm.
in token cost. You know how much it actually costs for their inference, kind of like costs,
Has to be.
and just the compute of like these data centers. So um, I think when it was primarily consumer,
Hmm.
you could kind of get away with the low users were paying for the high users kind of strategy.
Right.
But as like AI agents become more autonomous and are running maybe not
Hmm.
24/7, but far more tokens are going through that system.
Hmm.
I think the big thing that's going to occur is local models are going to be, you used to hear about local models more in the privacy kind of
Right.
space. Now they're really only like 4 or 5 months behind frontier models, depending on the size of the
Hmm.
computer you're running them on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, cool. Yeah. Always, there's just a ton happening. It's impossible to keep up with. So it's fun to chat through the things that were interesting. All right, man. You ready to go inside the bottle and talk about this like
let's do it.
crazy science project you've been working on? So we've been at it for a few weeks now, and we got going really fast. Like we grabbed a couple subscriptions to Notion, so we had places to collaborate and save information and create task databases and different things to keep track of stuff. And you and I both, we were in a role formerly where we had gotten really comfortable with the workflow we were using for many, 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 many years. And so I think you found yourself in a place where you needed to adapt and change and get ready for what's next here. And you started building some cool stuff to help you with that. And I think it fits sort of the story of, if part of the big opportunity with AI for a company is to solve a software problem that no vendor has been able to solve, creating software has never been easier.
Well, yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is building technology that fits the actual need
Hmm.
for the specific person or team that it's actually designed to serve
Right.
versus like these SaaS companies that grown to billions or whatever. That's great, but
Yeah.
they've trying to service multiple types of personas
Mm-hmm.
and company types and different things.
Yep.
So they have different goals. So this is a really good, like you said, this is a really good time to be in these tools and recalibrating how you think about what technology can do for you,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just so different.
Right.
The needs of the business and of the teams and so on and so forth they're back on. It's kind of like the old days of data analytics where IT held all the data. You just basically had to use a spreadsheet. And now we're moved on to applications and, content and I mean, anything. Anything technology related. Big reason I think we started this business is to try to like get more in this game, help
Yeah.
people see this possibility, change like the paradigm a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
not just for apps, but for different processes that technology has kind of failed them.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-canned solutions just don't fit the need that is right in front of them. Sure, there's probably still processes that technology just can't service reliably,
Right.
but I think people would be surprised how much this has changed. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just changed a lot. So it's pretty cool. So with Notion, you can do a lot of stuff in Notion, right? It's pretty
Right.
flexible. You have pages, basically databases within pages, databases across pages. It's crazy,
Yeah. Very
like how much
modular, very flexible.
very modular.
Yeah.
You can create relationships between uh, pages and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
What, and you could do this in Notion too, but what I felt was that I wanted to connect different processes that we had, like personal productivity,
Mm-hmm.
getting things done, kind of methodologies and things like that, into a centralized app where I could manage my tasks, I could manage my goals,
Mm-hmm.
my longer term goals, short term goals, assign tasks over to you if I need to,
Right.
create follow ups, do all the kind of things that especially when you're running a new business, like there's just a lot of like little things happening that it's easy to forget.
Too easy to forget.
Yeah.
You
And
called me
as
last night.
well
You're
as
like, so how'd today go? And I was like, I can't really remember what I did today. I need to go look at the log.
yeah, so I started building an app, called it a command center. Uh, under the back end of it is just Notion. So I could still use Notion if I want. I can use this app, and just kind of slowly, incrementally added to it to the point where we are today. It's pretty cool. I really like it. I showed a timeline. I created a little timeline here to show
You had another one
of
shot visual
a
aids
little
from
one
Kellan?
shot visual aid. Yeah. Let me show this one. Can you see this?
I can. Yep.
All right. So this like all the different kind of features that this app has, platform, productivity, EOS, which is the way we run our business, entrepreneurial operating system,
Yep.
with different L10s, mobile features. I did later add an iOS app. Figured
Yep.
if I was on the go, I should be able to edit this stuff too. Uh, Content related collaboration features, integration features, AI features, DevOps, like change management or CI/CD kind of stuff.
Sure.
Um, So just showing this, and as you can see, the top row is days, and you could initial commit, adding
Mm-hmm.
multi-users, auto update. So the app actually auto updates, and you can reinstall. It's an Electron app, um, and so and then configurable database. So the users, me and Justin, can have our own types of databases on there.
Mm-hmm.
Different databases relate. You can see different. I mean, contacts, onboard. There's an onboarding wizard I added, so it's easy for new people to join the app. There's cross-device sync, real-time polling. Um,
So this is like 10 days. This is a 10-day journey of the building that app.
so you can kind of see. There's about. It may seem like a lot, but there was about like 250 commits
Okay.
over a couple weeks. A lot of some of the commits are small bug fixes, things like that. Some were larger plan mode kind of
Mm-hmm.
features. Some were OpenClaw features that they were that our OpenClaw agents were creating and deploying.
Yeah. So what you working with agents to develop to write this application as well, not just sitting there
Yeah.
with Claude Code doing it all yourself.
Yeah.
Actually
Like I was
dispatching
building out,
someone.
yep. Yeah. Like I was building out the inbox, like the daily routine flow, for instance. So there's a feature on this. I'll show the app now. Um, uh, there's a feature on this that every morning, this screen pops up and it's basically like this allows you to clear your mind, kind of put
Hmm.
items on here. They're not tasks, they're not issues, they're not large goals. They're just what's on your brain. Get it
Right.
out. And you could triage it later. It's meant to be a centering exercise. And obviously, this isn't a productivity podcast,
Right.
but that's kind of the intent of this, TBIa Command Center. Um, is to kind of keep everything in one place as well as like center your goals and everything to that everything you're doing is pushing towards some end
Yeah.
result.
So you stay focused.
Stay
Stay
focused, yeah.
focused. Yeah.
So you can kind of, do your brain dump and this is a very guided, exercise. Dump
Hmm.
your thoughts and then triage your inbox, work your you know, backlog,
Hmm.
what's on, today, so on and so forth. So like you go through all that and then you can start your day.
Right.
Right, and I could do this on my app or on my app or, my, iPhone as well. So, and then it stores like, "Okay, you did this today," so it's in the back end, so it knows
Hmm.
not to do this again until tomorrow. And then if it's Sunday night or Monday morning, the weekly routine will automatically come up and not the daily
Right.
one. So, um, all of this fits just kinda how you and I work. Some of it's a little different. Like
Hmm.
we'll kind of dial this in a little bit as we go, but um, largely a process that at Tiny Bottle we follow with EOS with what we call Locus.
Hmm.
That is like basically blending everything together. That there is no tool on the market that will do serve this need.
Right.
There
There are,
just isn't.
yeah, there are many separate tools,
100%.
right,
Yeah.
that we could cobble together. But the idea here is this solves a really important gap for us. Like there's just two of us. We can't spend $40 a month on 7 different software
Right.
products, right? When we're starting a new business, but also like to have something crafted to your specific way of working. It honestly feels really good. And I think it unlocks speed and efficiency in us, like just doing what we want to do, you know, getting the actual work done.
Hmm.
Um, and I know like, but there's so many, like, we're not trying to go out and build something that is as crazy and feature rich as like a HubSpot or a Gmail. Like, it's like, that's pretty ambitious, but we've, when like that, this isn't to minimize anything, but like this sort of like part of the middleware problem. It's like, yeah, Notion is really flexible and modular. We could do all those things, but like you got to know what your way around, and it's not totally dialed into the way you work across the rest of your ecosystem, whether that's your email or your AI agents or whatever all the time. So I think there's just tons of applications where getting the right application in place fixes a big problem or like creates an opportunity for something really good to happen
Yeah.
where there wasn't an application available before. And so you either did things manually, slowly, you cobbled together other applications. It's really cool.
Yeah, and it brings in my Google information too, right? Like my events and
Hmm.
kind of the same old problem with data where you have disparate kind of data sources,
Yeah.
and you're having a hard time kind of visualizing North America sales with Asia sales because they're in different
Hmm.
systems. Data analytics solved that, years ago with different type of data mart kind of semantic models in Power BI or wherever, right? So now apps are kind of getting in that space. So, anyways, yeah, so a lot's evolving in that front, and I think almost every business has a situation where either a centralized, purpose-built app would benefit them greatly, or some type of workflow, like introducing AI into some workflow that could
Hmm.
could remove a lot of could be hassle, it could be inefficiency, It could be more intelligence in some cases. Like everyone has these situations. So it's really about, I think I said this earlier, it's about like kind of unlocking your brain from like thinking there's constraints here because
Mm-hmm.
there might be, but you got to start clean with like, okay, now
Yeah.
technology can do something for me and then work backwards into where there might be gaps.
Yeah.
Versus now where it's like what tools are out there in the in the internet, what can I buy, and then you know try to squeeze my business into that kind of
Right.
shape. So it's a new paradigm. It's pretty exciting, very
Yeah. I think,
exciting.
and what's neat about some of these things is there might there might be very little AI in the final solution. Like there's AI stuff in that app you built
Hmm.
where AI is involved in like the daily planning routine, for example.
Yeah.
But by and large, it's an app. It's software that's designed to fit a need. That's why I think like this idea we have a tiny bottle where if a business can focus on where they have real opportunities to create some more leverage and like solving those problems. I had I met up with someone last night. We're talking about think of like a sales quotation process. We were talking about this. So like, you've got a field sales team and they're sending in requests for quotes to like a centralized estimating team, for example.
Okay.
And so those requests they go and they sit in an inbox. And then when someone's ready for the next task, they go to the inbox and they realize, oh, like information's missing. And so now I got to go back. It's like, that's a great application where you could have an AI watching that inbox that understands what the team needs to do the job
Right.
and more quickly going back and saying like, hey, I need this, or maybe some cases like knows where to go find it and fill the hole so that when the human gets involved to do their work, they're ready to go. Or cases like, oh, we've got this clunky process where we need to take this information and reformat it and get it into this shape so it can go over into this system to do the thing on the production floor. Like AI might not be the need to do that actual completing that task, but you bet you could use AI to build an application that would make that really, really
Yeah.
seamless. And it's
Yep.
like stuff like that where that's going to eliminate tons of delay and tons of waste. And that creates like net value for a customer. Like if there's less slowdowns in getting quotes and proposals to customers, customers are going to be happier,
Yep.
right? And if the customers are happier, that's good.
I guarantee you there's 2 or 3 areas in every team that AI would delight people.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wouldn't be like a thing where people are like, ah, it would be like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Right.
There might be 2 or 3 that are like, that's scaring me. Why are
Right.
we doing that? Um, but there's 2 or 3 that are like, yeah, I don't want to go through these emails and see that they forgot a form or
Mm-hmm.
they didn't check this box and all that was required was that someone looked at it, sent an email back, said, "Can you please fill out this part?"
Right.
Um, so it just takes a little bit of creativity and kind of unlocking your brain to think of what's possible now. It's very
I'm
cool.
gonna make t-shirts. Unlock your brain.
Unlock your mind.
Unlock your mind. What was the jump like when you started with a Windows desktop app and then eventually built an iOS app? Like what was that leap cross platform like for you?
Um, it's kind of varied a little bit over like for different apps I've built. Like
Hmm.
some like I built only for iOS and then slowly moved over to a desktop to get a
Hmm.
little bit different form factor or additional capabilities that maybe an iOS would just be a little heavy for an
Right.
iOS app. Um, and some I supplemented after the fact with a iOS app with a pretty functioning desktop app.
Hmm.
So it kind of depends. In this example, I started with a desktop app
Sure.
and realized I needed at least some way for people to go in and actually look at tasks, monitor their progress on certain things, link
Hmm.
different types, and so on and so forth. Just because people are on the go and stuff, it just didn't make
Right.
sense to have like. Well, and actually, and a big part of this too was you think about when you have ideas or
You're
about to
never
forget
sitting
something.
at your desk.
You're very rarely at your desk. Like, okay, now I can put it in my inbox. No, like I would
Right.
need it to be on my iPhone, so I could quickly put in the item in my inbox. I could triage it later from
Right.
the iOS app or the desktop app. But like the key action was, I need to be able to capture this thought, so it doesn't get lost, and then I could triage it later. So it's grown since then to be a little bit more fully functioning
Yeah.
and a little
Looks
bit more
great.
parity with the desktop and mobile. But there are definitely features in desktop that there's definitely features when you're building a desktop app versus a mobile app where you're just kind of building for a different use case in a sense.
Yeah.
So like we have like a meeting runner that
Mhm.
we can use that you wouldn't have that on your phone. It wouldn't really
Right.
make sense. But all the outputs of that meeting, the action items,
Mhm.
any type of like large goals we call rocks,
Mhm.
like those you want to keep an eye on, and
Right.
on the app. So pretty cool, man.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. It's been fun watching you be excited about it as it's evolved, right? It's more features got in there, more you integrated more parts of the way we're operating. And I think for us, okay, well, why do this, right? It's like, is this just Kellan having fun building an app? It's like, well, we're a 2-person team, and the ability to focus and execute and just get things done is really, really important.
Yeah.
And I think, my personality, I think the way you and I work, like if I don't have something that's constantly grounding me to like, Justin, the most important thing on your plate right now is this. I understand you want to be distracted over here, but like this is what this is what needs to get done to keep everything moving forward. And so that's a huge thing for us, right?
Yeah. Massive.
Huge for us.
And we're going to continue to probably increment on it. If we add people to the team later, like figuring out how
Right.
that makes sense as a growing team. The nice thing is we can make that decision later. The same can be said for other processes
Mm-hmm.
at other companies. So it's amazing.
Very fun. Well, if you like what you're listening to, drop by tinybottleai.com, head over to the Fizz, and you can subscribe to get notified when we've got new episodes coming out. We also have a newsletter companion to the show called The Weekly Fizz that can get straight to your inbox as well. Kellan, it's fun chatting with you today. I'll see you next week.
See ya.